Welcome to Graphite Hub's interview series, a series dedicated to all things graphite. Now, today I'm joined by Dr. Christian Graf, Director of the Processing Division at Anzaplan. And what this is this is a 4-part series covering some of the basics from purification techniques to talking about AI and also what Christian is seeing in the market. So, Christian, it's great to have you here.
Yeah. Likewise. So Christian is totally fine for me. Let's proceed. Happy for having this opportunity, Harry. Pleasure.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about yourself, what your
Yeah,
role is at Anzaplan, and for anyone that hasn't come across the business, what does Anzaplan actually do?
good. So my name is Dr. Christian Graf. I'm the processing director here at Anzaplan. At Anzaplan, we are doing the process development and engineering as well as code compliance studies for critical raw materials. So these critical raw materials involves graphite, involves lithium, also involves rare earths. So we're basically doing everything from the development of the flow sheet over the engineering, doing the costing, and then compiling this into a complete business model and writing these code compliant NF43 as well as 101, NF43 101 as well as job studies. And we're also developing technology. So when it comes to the graphite space, we were one of the first companies that developed a sterilization and machine and commercialized this using NETch. We also developed an HF3 as well as a caustic purification as well as caustic background for graphite, really making the graphite purification independent of HF and giving an alternative towards the HF route that's commonly used.
So probably based on your understanding and experience in the market, you've probably got one of the best views across the graphite market, especially with what you're seeing. And on that basis, how would you characterize the test work and what you're seeing in your pipeline at the moment?
So our test work typically consists out of multiple layers. First, we got that early on test work where clients come to us and say, okay, I need quick results. I need to confirm that the ore I'm having could be translated into a marketable graphite product. After we have this, typically study work comes up where they say, okay, now show me the economics. How much do I have to invest? How well does it play out? In this phase, there's also the question, does it make sense to move into add value products for graphite processing, such as spherical graphite, anode material, expandable graphite, purified micronized graphite, and so on. So we're also doing this and also doing the code compliance studies. Also, when it comes then to realization, typically a piloting needs to be done. So where you collect some engineering data, which you can later use for your commercial scale or your demonstration plant. And then also samples for qualification needs to be produced. And this is all what we're doing. We ran multiple campaigns where we produced tens of tons of purified graphite and also have the capabilities to sterilize this and to coat this on the way. But tens of tons is the end of the spectrum. So we start at lab with gram scale, go into kg scale, multiple digits kg scales. This is all what we're doing. So we can supply the customer really with information and support our customer from the very beginning to the very end of the studies.
And in the last, say, 2 to 3 years, how have you been finding the graphite market specifically?
I think the graphite market is always, compared to other junior markets, a more reasonable market. There is less companies coming in and moving out of the business. There were some activities picking up in Tanzania, for example. Also, Mozambique is pretty big, so especially the Southern African graphite belt has significant interest there. There's also interest coming from Madagascar, but I would not discard the other traditional regions such as Australia, Canada are of interest as well. We also saw European projects out of the Ukraine, so European projects in Norway, and there were also some Brazilian projects which picked up quite some attractiveness over the last years and are knocking on our doors.
I think on that basis as well, we'd probably both agree that there's no shortage of graphite projects out there, but clearly the one issue is getting these projects from concept stage into production.
Yes.
So where is the real bottleneck in building out a graphite supply chain?
I think, as you rightfully mentioned, resources are not the problem. So there's a lot of graphite available, and there's also graphite available in, let's call it, tier 1, tier 2 jurisdictions where you can get this to. There's there's definitely a bottleneck in know-how. So come to us. There is not the bottleneck there, but the know-how in existing processes, which comes with a risk. But I think if we try to get independent from China, we have to take this risk. And Anzaplan is happy to support you with all that existing experience on prior projects to move forward. And there is not the bottleneck. The bottleneck is also not on the flake graphite production. This is a well understood early, very straightforward process. It's also done by Western companies such as Imerys and so on. The expertise is clearly there. When it goes into more doing a SPG, a spherical graphite anode supply chain, there it really gets of an interest, because then we are moving into a different mindset. We are moving into a performance materials mindset and not a mining mindset. So we are not talking about assay sheets anymore. We are talking more on impurity level, material performance, and so on.
And so for those companies, say, like wanting to produce CSPG, how do you bridge that technical know-how gap, given that, China controls 98, 99% of the market?
Okay. With Anzaplan being active in the field since 15, 20 years and doing graphite purification since 15 years, we know about the specifications and happy to redeploy them and learn quite a lot about past projects and so on. So we hold this expertise, and we're happy to share this expertise with any outside company. We're also happy to supply any investors with information about project, doing due diligence on this. So we are happy to share and consult the people that are in the graphite space. That's absolutely no problem. And also supporting engineering companies when it comes to realization. We're supplying the processes there and support doing detail engineering, and could also support while I ramp up.
Well, fantastic, Christian. Pleasure to chat to you today. And in the next episode, we'll be talking about something a little bit different, and that is the AI work that Anzaplan is doing. So we'll see you in the next episode.
Great. Thank you. Looking forward to that.
Thanks everyone for tuning into this episode of Graphite Hub's interview series. We'll see you next time.